Welcome. Today we'll be going over 10 of my favorite Rust challenges, some being easy, some being difficult, and some being borderline impossible. Let me know in the comment section what your favorite Rust challenge is, and if I didn't cover it in this video, let us know what the rules are associated with your favorite challenge. This video is brought to you by Wraith Energy. Go to the link in the description below to drinkwraith.com and use code DRIZZA20 to get 20% off your next order. Number 1. No farming. You can only loot crates and kill players. Fun for a PvP player who finds it too easy to kill and depot mass amounts of loot. Now you're restricted to only your inventory until you recycle enough to build or kill somebody who's been farming. You're not allowed to use tools to farm, you can only use tools to kill or to build your base. The challenge to this is surviving long enough to kill somebody who's been farming, or survive long enough to recycle and buy materials from the outpost, or to recycle enough to use those materials to build a base. 2. You can only buy items from vending machines. Outpost, bandit camp, fishing village, and player shops are the only way you can get items. You'll only be able to farm barrels for scrap/components and sulfur to get items, or whatever the shop owner is requesting to trade for. Items you get from killing players are able to be kept as well. This one is kind of up to you with how you do it, but I would recommend to keep the challenge interesting, only farm things that people are requesting to trade in their vending machines, or to only farm barrels to recycle at outposts to buy from the vending machines that are in the game by default. 3. One life challenge. I have a playlist which should pop up on the screen now in the annotation where I do Rust, but you only have one life, and then I add some twists to the challenge. This is fun and comparable to Minecraft hardcore mode. What this does is challenge your stealthiness and game sense and allows you to become a better player, make better decisions, and practice not dying, which is one of the biggest things in this game, is to not die so you can make it back to your base with all your loot. There are no rules other than you have one life. If you want to put other challenges on top of this challenge, it can sometimes make it more interesting, like how I did You Can Only Eat Pickles with one life. 4. No base. You can only use bags, stashes, and campfires. This creates a challenge of inventory management and stealth, creating a more strict environment for you to be able to improve your game sense and ability to traverse the map undetected. Nighttime is your biggest friend for moving around the map, especially if you have a lot of loot and you've made it somewhat far into the wipe. If you die, you can just continue onward, maybe go back to your body and try again. If you've been able to create a stash point and mark it on the map, you'll at least have some backup loot if you do die. If you have more than one stash point, you want to make sure that you put your stashes under rocks, bags, trees, or bushes so that you can easily recognize and remember where you've put these stashes at. Use the campfires to cook food, obviously, so you can eat if you're nowhere near a river. 5. Build pit stops around the roads and rails to store horses and cars and use them as spawn points instead of building a regular starter base and main base. This is fun to do on any wipe and allows for easy access to a lot of the map very quickly. Build up 2x2s for horses and 2x3s for cars. You can store 1 to 2 backup kits per person and spend 10 to 20 minutes in the area to farm up other basic materials to maintain the base and build up a little bit of kits for you to use. This is a much more interesting way to play the wipe instead of doing a stereotypical starter base, as you're focusing on transportation immediately so that you can traverse the map extremely quickly with checkpoints across the roads. I like to start in the 4 corners of the map and then 1 or 2 bases in sort of the center of the map depending on how the road layout is. If you've never done this before, you should really try it out, especially if you're a solo player. It allows you to split your loot across the map, so if you do get raided, you've got 4 or 5, maybe even 10 other bases. And if you forget where you built your bases, I recommend writing them down on your phone or something, the square that you built them in. Or you could even put signs near your base so that when you're running around the map, you can see a sign and be like, okay, my base is coming up soon, where I can have a save point to drop my horse or car off at. 6. Pick a square, run to it, and now you can't leave it for the whole wipe. This is fun for very short wipe servers as a challenge of your resourcefulness and ability to pick the perfect spot to build. The best way to go about this is finding a square with part of a monument in it that also has a chance to spawn nodes. When looking at your map, you can see cliff faces and stuff like that to tell if nodes are going to spawn, and the dark green spots are where the trees will spawn. And maybe, if you're lucky, a piece of the road will go through the square for barrels and crates. A recycler would be the cherry on top for this challenge. This is a great way for newer players to learn to work with what they get, especially if they don't have a recycler. 7. Ghost a Zerg. This is one of the more difficult challenges and requires your social skills, or stealth. You could find a Zerg that uses clan tags in their name and ghost that way, or offer yourself as a farmer for them and slowly gain trust and access to guest codes through chat or voice comms. The goal here is to either get TC access or steal a bunch of loot while being completely undetected. What you do after that point is up to you. One of the more fun ways to go about this is finding clan bases with huge external walls where they have gaps in their TC privilege, and then building inside of their base so you have an easy spawn point and depot area without having to completely leave the external walls. And maybe, if you're offering yourself as a farmer for them, you might actually make some friends, for once. 8. Raid as fast as possible. Join a server and find a way to make 840 scrap to learn Satchel and Bean Can. Go to the outpost and use the workbench there or the bandit camp, or get an extra 75 scrap to make your own if you've built the 2x1. Once you've learned the Bean Can and Satchel, you're going to go farm as much sulfur as you can, get some low grade somehow to make some furnaces, and then try to get around 5k to 10k smelted sulfur with enough charcoal to turn it all into gunpowder. After that, you're ready to raid, and you're looking for honeycomb 2x2s and hoping for the best. This is a fun way to play Rust. Instead of focusing on getting kits and guns and weapons, you're just focusing on getting some scrap, getting a little base down, and then farming sulfur so you can raid. The best place to raid if you don't have any weapons whatsoever would most likely be the edge of the map, or you can scout to see if there's any bases around your potential target. Usually it's pretty safe to raid naked as long as nobody is within a 3 square vicinity. 9. Place as many bags around a giant clan base as you can and try to guess their code. This works the best on an enormous clan base with multiple layers of external walls so they don't hear you guessing the code. If you live for 30 seconds each life, then put 10 bags down, and that puts you on a 0-second bag timer. Add more bags if you die quicker than 30 seconds per life. And keep in mind, you only get 8 attempts per door now, and then it gets put on a 15-minute cooldown. So while scouting for bases that you want to try to guess the code on with a bunch of bags around their base, look for ones that have tons of doors. This way, once you get put on a 15-minute cooldown for a door, you can just switch to another one. Some of my favorite targets to try this on are Zergs with around 3 to 4 bases, like a farm base, a boat base, a heli base, maybe, or like a car base, and then their main base, and sometimes they'll have a flank base or starter base nearby. This is one of the most difficult challenges in the list. It requires a ton of time and keeping track of the codes that you've already tried. 10. Become the king of grubs. You can get a pump shotgun from the fishing village mission, or buy a DB from Outpost and research it. You can only farm pipes from road signs that spawn in Outpost and along the road to craft more DBs and enough materials to build 1x1s near potential targets. Your goal is to try to go deep with DBs or the pump from the mission and take over somebody's base. The challenge here is going deep on the base, obviously. And if you do get inside, knowing what you need to do to completely take over the base without chance of the owners coming back and stealing it from you. So once you do get inside, if you do, your goal is to try to destroy the bags first, destroy the TC second, and then try to get your own door down if there is even a way for you to get your own door down. If there's not a way for you to get your own door down, skip breaking the TC and just try to steal as much loot as possible and break out. If you have to break a wall, try to look for a stone wall or a wood wall, and utilize any tools that they already have in the base before you decide on crafting more. These are some of my favorite challenges to do in Rust. Make sure you leave a like if you enjoyed the video, subscribe for more content to come, and if you have any challenges that are not on this list, let me know in the comments down below, and the rules for those challenges that you've tried before that you enjoy. Also, don't forget to check the link in the description for Wraith Energy with my discount code DRZA20 to get 20% off your next order at drinkwraith.com. Appreciate you guys for watching, and I'll catch you in the next one.